I'm Philipp. I'm a professor of interactive systems at the University of Applied Sciences in Hagenberg, and I'm also co-affiliated with TU Wien. And I'm happy to be here today and to show you some of our works in the realm of attention management. So what I like is this enthusiastic attitude at these events, and that people think about how the future could look like. But I think it's also always worth to think that technology and inventions come with a cost. So we can see at that generated picture, generated by AI, that the automobile, for example, was invented 100 years ago, and the societies were so enthusiastic about it that we made our entire life space circling around that product. And today, we are standing in front of the problem to say, okay, maybe we have done something wrong, and people are discussing on what were the negative effects of this technology and trying to make things up. I think we should not let that happen with computer technology, although it has happened already. One of the problems that you all will know, I would even consider it as a disease that we're all suffering, and it is associated with disruptions and multitasking. So I don't know how many of you are currently looking into their smartphones. You constantly receive interruptions and notifications, more than 60 a day on average. You may know situations where your partner or loved ones will tell you at a lunch, hey, please, I'm also here. You don't have to listen, look into your phone all the time. And vice versa, you may sit in the office and realize, oh, I could have been more productive today if I wouldn't have followed all these interruptions from my private life that came to my phone. So you may say, okay, a loss of productivity in these fast-paced capitalist times is not a big issue, but it's not just limited to this form of productivity. We can also see that there is death associated with disruptions and interruptions. So more and more people are crashing with cars because they use their smartphones on the go, and these numbers are continuously rising. So what's an issue is also, it will not really become less in the future. We will have more technology, we will have more devices, we will have more algorithms, and our attention will be even more strained. So the good thing is there is something that we can do about it. We know that multitasking and task switching comes with high socioeconomic costs, and that managing user attention has become a critical challenge. So what we also know is that if we better time these interruptions and more consider our attention in the delivering of information, we can make a better life for us, considering well-being, but also productivity. We say that in a perfect world, you would never have to click away a push notification because it will only come if it's important for you. So this concept is actually quite old. It's called an attention management system. This can be defined as a system that would computationally seek to balance your need for a minimal disruption and the application's need to deliver information. We have heard about calm technology also today, and some of these principles, they are quite old, 30 years old, even 40 years old, so we can ask ourselves, why don't we have these systems already? So one of the problems is that we live in a quite complex ecosystem, and it's not so easy for us to decide when, let's say, an interruption would be valuable and when it is not. Also, many of the concepts that exist today, they heavily rely on supervised learning approaches. So this means they are very dependent on particular tasks. It's difficult for them to adapt to individuals because they are pre-trained, and it's also impossible to become superhuman. What do I mean by that? When I would ask you to be the expert and tell me if an interruption is appropriate or not, you can only make it on your personal assumptions, on your theories. But maybe there would be even better strategies that we don't even know yet. And one project that we're currently doing, we try to somehow make our way into that space. It's the FWF project, AI Attentive, where we use another approach to make a better attention management systems, where we use reinforcement learning as a different approach in contrast to supervised learning. So reinforcement learning is a technology, a machine learning technology, where an agent tries to learn a strategy to maximize towards a reward function. So for our systems, that would mean that an agent is asked to deliver some information to you, and it would have to find out what's the best moment in time to do that so that your productivity would gain, or let's say your stress levels would get lower. So in contrast to classical machine learning, this could potentially be task independent, and we don't need labeled training data for that. And we may even be able to adapt to individuals and achieve superhuman performance. So maybe you could become better using such a system. In contrast, then you would make decisions on when you would attend a particular activity yourself. So in our project, we are investigating the following hypothesis. We say that we can design a reinforcement learning-based attention management system that would improve human performance in multitasking compared to a human self-determined interruption strategy. And of course, this project is just at the start, but I will show you some of the things that we did so far. So we started our investigations in the fast-paced visual motoric tasks. This one, you would be a player in a small computer game. You would have to balance balls on 2 platforms. But you can only have one of these platforms active at a given time. So you would use the shoulder buttons of your gamepad to decide which of these 2 platforms you would want to control at any given time point. So there are basically 2 conditions. Either you make the decisions, should I play on the left side, should I play on the right side, or you could use our pre-trained attention management systems that would the decisions do for you. One issue that we also have in that situation is we don't need label training data for our reinforcement learning agents, but we would still need some kind of training. And for that, we would have to train the system with real humans. However, that's somehow infeasible because training for reinforcement learning takes a lot of time. So some of the successful systems that you have may seen in YouTube videos, they have trained longer than the human race existed, so to say. They just did the training in parallel to make that possible. So we use a particular strategy to counter that problem. This means we will model humans with another branch of reinforcement learning agents. And there is a theory out there that should tell us that, okay, when you configure a reinforcement learning agent with computational rationality, then it may behave like a real human. So the assumption is that you, as humans, you would perform optimally under given bounds. So when we model our reinforcement learning agents in a way that they would have similar constraints as you would have them as a human, for example, you would have a delayed vision, you would have a particular reaction time after following an interruption, then these agents might behave very similarly to you. You can see that on this short video where you can see 2 balls on each platform. So one ball would represent the real ball as it is simulated, while the other ball would be the perception of the reinforcement learning agent. So you could see on the green platform that these are quite in sync, but on the blue one that is currently not in focus of the user, there's a bigger delay. So we slowly start to forget where the ball really is, and when we re-attend the platform, we have to update that belief first. So by that we can somehow model a simulated player that would roughly play like a real human. So using this strategy, we trained our system and evaluated it with 43 participants. We could show that our attention management system could indeed significantly improve our participants' performance in that game task. We could also see some other nice observations, for example, that the attention management system made our users play differently than if they would play and make the task switching decisions themselves. So they had a more fast-paced, high-speed gaming that appeared somehow a little bit stressful for us. But interestingly, when we subjectively asked the users later on how they felt playing the game, they attributed our AMS system even lower cognitive workload. So our next steps will be to confirm these results with different tasks, different multitasking scenarios, different environments, also not only taking performance, but also other parameters in mind, for example, lowering stress levels. Still, we believe that attention management systems have a huge potential for workplaces and daily lives, and these systems could help to optimize interruptions and attention for higher well-being and productivity, while at the same time reducing the negative effects of the always-on mentality. So we think in some future, in 100 years from now, people may look back on us and think that, oh, how they were treated by devices, by interruption, by technology might be similar to we see today, cars without seat belts or people wearing radioactive jewelry. So if you want to discuss on the topic later with us, feel free to approach us. I think my time is nearly over. Thank you, Astrid.